Now, this serves a dual purpose. I'm making something very creative, and I'm using up leftover filament. I wonder what it could be. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs and the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly vlog number 380 for October the 14th, 2024. And it is Thanksgiving Monday here in Canada, and it is a holiday for most of us. And I hope everybody had a really great Thanksgiving Day. We had my family over here for dinner last night, which was great. I hate the cleanup afterwards, but we had a nice dinner. The turkey was good, and we have a ton of that left over. So guess what we're going to be eating for the next little while? Turkey sandwiches, turkey soup, turkey burrito surprise, turkey pasta. I don't know. Anything you can make with turkey. And well, we had a very nice dinner. And I was going to take a picture of everything that was prepared, and guess what? Forgot to. I always forget to take pictures of food. But anyways, it was a nice evening. And so I hope everybody, all my Canadian subscribers, I hope you are enjoying the Thanksgiving weekend. And of course, the Americans, yours comes later. So you've got another month and a bit before you see your Thanksgiving. Okay, let's take a look at my current project. In spite of getting everything ready for Thanksgiving, I was able to complete this project. It's a Christmas poinsettia, or poinsettia, whichever way you say it, poinsettia patchwork tabletop, or had to think about the name for a minute. And I think it turned out quite nice. And I made that one for Thanksgiving that sits on my round glass tablecloth in my family room. Tablecloth, coffee table is what I meant, in my family room. And I don't usually make toppers. I'll make table runners, but not toppers. But after I made that Thanksgiving one, which was similar in size, I thought, hey, when I saw this, I can use this at Christmas time when I put out my decorations. The Thanksgiving one is there right now, and it looks great on the tabletop. And yeah, and in fact, I'm really thinking that maybe I'll make some more of these, not Christmas, but and other themes in that, because I really like how they fit on that coffee table and how they look. Go figure. Something new for me that I have discovered. Okay, so that's about the only thing. I have started a new project as well, but I'll talk more about that tomorrow on the Idiot Quilter. So that takes me to the YouTube channel of the week. And since we are talking about fall and Halloween decor, there is one person that I do follow, and he does a lot of home styling and decor and kind of things, and he loves Halloween and Christmas and goes all out in his house. I think he has every room decorated. And this is Christopher Heineman, and this is his fall and Halloween home tour vlog. So here's my review about that. Last week I talked about my decorating for Thanksgiving and Halloween. Well, if you go to this particular YouTube channel, you're going to get a whole lot of almost over-the-top decorating ideas for Halloween, including a Halloween tree. This is new to me. I've heard of a Christmas tree, but a Halloween tree? I guess it's a thing. Anyways, this particular video called Fall and Halloween Home Tour by Christopher Heineman. I watch his videos on a regular basis. I get some tips and tricks about things I could do around my house for decorating and that kind of thing. He has some really interesting ideas, and his home looks beautiful. I mean, he must spend hours on this, but you be the judge of how much time he spends. Take a look at this video, and I think, at least if anything, you'll be inspired to maybe do a little bit more with your Halloween decorations, unless you already are over the top. So you'll find a link for that in the show notes below. You'll also find a link for Stephanie and Stephen sewing Wednesday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Come and join us. And if it's the first time, nothing to be afraid of. We love first timers. Everybody welcomes a first timer with open arms, and it's a lovely little community that we have there. So I hope you'll consider it if you've never been before. Link for it. It is a Zoom link, unrecorded, not a YouTube live. Zoom link is in the show notes below. You'll also find links to all my friends' channels. Do check them out because there's always something interesting every week on their channels. And there is a link for the Idiot Quilter retreat in terms of an explanation. It's been there for several weeks now. And if you're still thinking about this, we'll come to that in a moment. But anyways, this will probably be the last time this link appears in the show notes. And there's links to all past week's videos, including Stephen and Walter Live, which we did come on an hour earlier because of having my family over here for Thanksgiving dinner. I did announce that a week ago, and I did put up a short about it too, but I know some of you forgot. But you can catch it on the replay. Okay, so let's take a look at what things are looking like as far as weather is concerned outdoors, outside on my front doorstep. Hard to tell. It's 20 to 8. Oh, no, it's not. It's a lot later. I got waylaid this morning with some other little tasks I had to do. So it's more like 20 to 9 right now. So here's the kind of day. Looks like it's overcast. And according to Weather Canada, right now it's 4 degrees Celsius, but it says it feels like -4. Frosty. Glad I picked what was left of my peppers. More about that the other day, because I have a feeling it might be a little frosty on them. And it looks like the high today is going to be 11. So yeah, pretty much fall weather that we're having right now. Overcast, but no rain. And it looks like we're not going to have, there isn't any rain this week in the forecast and right up to next Wednesday. Some cloudy days, some sunny days. I think the hottest day is going to be a week from tomorrow. It says 20 degrees C. So yeah, so yep, we're in fall, no doubt about it. But things are still looking green. The trees have not really changed that much right here on my street. However, we get a few more cold nights, and yeah, there's suddenly going to be a burst of color and then nothing. And that means we've hit the gloom of November, right? Okay, so doom and gloom. Let's talk about doom and gloom, shall we? I heard a very interesting conversation between a hairdresser and her client when I was waiting for my hairdresser to cut my hair the other day. And they were talking about how unfriendly people have become. They were saying, you walk down a street or something, if you happen to come past another person who you don't know, but you smile at them, they just keep looking straight ahead and keep walking. People don't hold doors open for other people. People seem to be very standoffish, to say the least, to other people. Well, I got thinking about this. And I am probably one of those type of people who walks down a street, and if I see somebody I don't know, I just look straight ahead and keep moving. Now, Walter is not the same. He goes out for walks every day, part of his new health regime. I should do the same, but I don't. And when I have gone out with him for a walk and somebody we don't know comes by, Walter will say hello. Which I find kind of unusual for Walter, because Walter is kind of a standoffish person himself to strangers. But he makes a point of saying hello as he passes. And when he does, those people usually react. They will say, oh, hi, and keep going. I need to do that more. What am I afraid of? Well, I think I'm like a lot of other people. Ever since COVID, we've become shell-shocked. At least I have. I'm afraid of my own shadow. I go into a place, if it's too crowded, I want to get out. That's thanks to COVID, but we've had disease before. Flu is always rampant, colds, things like that. But I blame it on the media, the news. They basically have instilled in many of us a fear of other people in our society. Why is that? because everything they show us on TV is bad news, is bad behavior, to say the least. We have wars going on. You turn on the channel to the news, the evening news, all you hear about is somebody who's been knifed, gunned down, cars that have been stolen, house raids, sexual assaults, and it goes on. And that's all we hear about. It's always bad news. And it's always about people behaving badly. So it gets to the point where you start to believe you can't trust anybody. And that moves into our subconscious. And so when we cross paths with a stranger, we have a fear. Don't speak to them. They'll attack you. Keep on walking. Walk like you have a mission. Look straight ahead. Don't look to the left. Don't look to the right. Just keep on going. Because if you hesitate, if you do look to the left and you do look to the right, if you do speak to that person, they're going to attack you. They're going to rob you. They're going to kill you. Am I being too extreme? I don't think I am. At least, according to the news, that's what's going to happen to us all. That's a bad thing, because that makes us isolated. That makes us unforgiving. That makes us cruel. Yeah. And it also is making us crazy, because it's affecting our mental health. It really is. And right now, the whole issue of mental health is a topic that is the other topic the news talks about. Because if someone's done something, it's because they are having a mental health crisis. And there's no help for them. And blah, 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 blah. So it's all doom and gloom, isn't it? And I think we buy into it. How do we get out of this? Well, maybe we start by saying a kind word, even if it's just hello, to a stranger we pass on the street. Maybe a smile on our face is no, maybe that's a start. Maybe that will help relax the mood. Now, I'm not saying we should, not be concerned about our own security. I don't think we need to trust strangers, but let's give them the benefit of the doubt that they're not out to axe murder us or to rape and pillage us, that maybe they're just somebody like ourselves, just out for a walk or running their errands. And can't we show a little kindness? If we all did that, I don't think we'd have the situations we have in the world today, the wars. Because let's face it, what is a war? It's one group of people hating on another group of people in the most extreme way. So maybe we should take that into consideration, and maybe we should just smile a little bit more. Anyways, say hello. Just saying. Okay, so that takes me to Grow Light Project. I've got nothing to show you in that I have dirt. Somebody wrote, oh, you just showed dirt. Yeah, I warned you last week I was going to show dirt, because there's nothing in the dirt yet. Maybe this week we'll get something in the dirt. We've been busy cooking turkey. Walter's been making pies, that kind of thing. But I mentioned earlier that, it's been getting a little frosty. So what was left out in our deck garden, we picked. And I picked a whole bunch of peppers that I want to pickle. Yes, I'm going to say it. I picked a peck of pickled peppers. How many pickled peppers did I pick? I don't know. I got a bunch. So anyways, I got a little clip here that I want to show you about my peppers. So it's come to that time of the year where the garden is just about done, and we're probably expecting frost any time now. So I went out and picked up what was left of our peppers, and I didn't realize we had that many out there still. So I'm going to pickle some of these as soon as I get some more jars. And
pickle a peck Peppers?
Yeah, pickle a peck of Peter picked a peck of pickled peppers, and Walter has his pumpkins all lined up. Now these did not come from our garden; they came from the grocery store. They're they're pie pumpkins, and yes, he's going to make for Thanksgiving a some pumpkin pies from these. Now he's done it before, and it's always quite delicious. And he's got his little recipe here, homemade pumpkin puree. So I guess he has to puree it. And yeah, so yeah, it's sad to see the garden go. And we got a good yield out of it this year. So I guess next we have to concentrate on our grow lights for the winter and our winter lettuce, indoor winter lettuce, and a few other little things. So that takes me to new things this week. Well, I haven't bought anything new and exciting, but thank goodness for Amazon because some things that I need, I can get from there. I'm just trying to find my picture of it. Here we go. Okay, this is my order from the last week, and everything's been delivered to me. So let's go down the list a little bit first. Put these into the order that I ordered them. Okay, you can see here reels of filament. Yes, I bought a lot of filament. I was low. I've been trying to use up my scrap pieces in different projects, but I stocked up. So there we have it. And I can print for a little bit while longer with all of that. Okay, so that was filament. Then I needed batteries. And I needed those little disc batteries because I have a whole bunch of these little lights that I like to put with my Halloween decorations. And then when Christmas comes along with those. And of course, each one of these little tiny lights takes 2 of these flat batteries, 2032s. Now, usually I buy batteries at the dollar store or at Costco, but neither one have the 2032s. They have the 2025s that look similar, but are not the same thing. So there's a couple of other things that take 2032s as well. So I bought them. I decided to buy a whole bunch of them on Amazon. So I got 100 of these batteries. Should do me for a while with that. I needed a new belt. So I bought a new belt. Now, I have bought this belt from Amazon a couple of times before over the last few years. My belts wear out. Part of the reason is these are not the greatest of quality, but they're okay. Um, so, and they're ones that you can adjust to fit, like it comes in a range of sizes or size waist widths. I'm not going to tell you what I did, what I ordered. Don't you look at it too closely. And, oh, that's really interesting. It says men's belt, genuine leather for regular and big and tall, 35 inches to 62 inches. Jeans belt, dress belt, casual and work belt, black waist, 34 to 36. Well, I bought the 34 to 36. I didn't see this part before, 35 to 62. I guess I don't know why that's in the description. But anyways, I bought the belt, and for what they cost, and it was like $25.98. It's a decent enough belt. So it'll do me. It'll keep my pants up. And then, okay, going to talk a little bit more about this when I talk about can I print that effing thing on my 3D printer, but I needed a part for one of my new printers. This was a bit of a scare thing. It's called a ceramic heating block, but we'll talk more about that in a moment or two. And then I bought balls, little silver balls, ball bearings, if you wish. 100 of them, small. They're still in the package. They arrived yesterday. I haven't taken them out yet. Why would I be buying balls? Well, 3D printing. I saw something that looked kind of cool, and I'm going to challenge my 3D printers to see if I can. There's a whole bunch of these little, they call them marble run machines, you know, where a little round ball goes in the top and goes around a track and does little things. Well, I'm going to try to print a couple of those and see what happens. And I need these balls. So I ordered balls. Yeah. Excitement. Really. Can you just stand it? I love Amazon. I do. And you know what I always say about Amazon, right? A day without an Amazon delivery is a day without sunshine. Yeah. So that takes me to, can I print this effing thing? And I'm going to show you what I can. And it was a challenge, but I was surprised it worked. And it is this. And you are going to say, just a second, let me get this picture up here so you can see it better. There you go. You're going to say, and what is that? Well, that's a tentacle. It is a tentacle. Very pretty. You know, I was saying I was using up my leftover scraps of my filament. Well, I used them up on this because this took better part of a day and a half to print. That's what it's for. Wine bottle. It's a wine bottle holder. You can put your wine bottle in that way, or if you've got it open, you can put it in this way. And I used this yesterday at my Thanksgiving table. I think it's really cool. It's just fun. It really is. This is something you don't see every day. I saw a YouTube video from the 3D nerd, a 3D printing nerd, and he made a bunch of these. And in a wine or restaurant or wine store someplace in California, they mounted them on the wall as a display. They looked really cool. So I thought, I really didn't think I could make one, and I didn't think it would be very strong. It is. It's very strong, and I was able to print it. I love it. I really love it. I might print a second one. I don't know why, but I might. It's just fun. Yeah. So that's one thing. Let me see here. Yeah. Okay. I am making more gnome things. This is a new design. Gnome with a rope tray attached to it. And I'm going to put some little items in this tray. I don't know. I've got some things. I put in a Temu order, about $100 Temu order the other day, and I bought a whole bunch of sewing notions and Christmas themed little items. And when that order comes, I will do an unboxing of that. So I'm not going to say any more about what I bought, but I bought a bunch of little things. And my idea here is this is what I'm going to be giving to the ladies at Ultimate Sewing. I always get them a little something at Christmas time this year. It's getting harder each year to figure out what I want to give them because I've already given them a lot of different things. So, you know, I don't want to repeat things from year to year. So I think this will be a little bit fun. So I've got those all made now too. Yeah, so that's what I've been doing with Can I Print That Effing Thing? Now, these marble runs, stay tuned. I haven't tried them yet. I think they may be very complex. I think I'm going to have mixed results, but we're going to see what happens. The other thing I mentioned when I was showing you what I bought this week, I mentioned the ceramic hot end replacement kit for one of my new printers. My printer was making a really bad noise, so I stopped it. It was printing out, I was printing out some of those scrap trash cans, the giant thimbles. You've seen those before that I've done. And I'm low in my supply, so I like to have them as special gifts and that for sewing friends around. So I thought I'd print a bunch of those with this new filament that I bought. But one of them was making this horrible, horrible noise. It was like the nozzle head was dragging. So I stopped the machine, couldn't continue the print, but it hadn't gotten that far. And then I recalibrated the machine. And in the process of recalibrating it, it was crashing. The hot end nozzle was crashing into the build plate. Not good, not good at all. So I immediately turned off the machine and started taking it apart to see, you know, what's going on here. Well, the ceramic hot end, the whole nozzle part that's in there, was cracked. And it was hanging down. Two little screws dropped out when I took the cover off. I went, what are these from? Well, I soon discovered that they held the hot end up inside the unit. Well, that's not good. So I did have in my supply drawers for 3D printing, I had a replacement one. I bought this back some time ago, just on the off chance I had to replace it, and I'm glad I did. But then I had to figure out how to do it. thank goodness for YouTube. And I'll have to say this, Creality has really, the company, their Chinese company, they've really stepped up on their videos for replacing parts on your Creality printers. They have a whole series of YouTubes with that, and they're fairly well done. They run a little fast, so you have to kind of pause it at certain stages, you know, or rewind it to see what's going on. But they had one for this. It was easy. It was very easy to do. I was so impressed with myself that I was able to do it. So it's just another thing I learned about 3D printers. And, you know, again, you've heard me say this before, 3D printing is not for those who do not like to fiddle and tinker or repair things, because you will have to replace parts. They will not last forever. So I just, as you saw in my list of Amazon things, I have just reordered another one of those parts to have in as a spare. Okay, so yeah, I'm very proud of myself, and the printer's working fine, which is great. Now I have another problem with one of the other printers. It was stopping. The filament sensor was saying that it was out of filament, but it wasn't. There was filament running through it. So I fiddled with this and I fiddled with that. And then I watched some YouTube videos, and there was one about, well, I found a couple, and I think I know what I need to do. One said that there's a little thing inside the filament finder that may not be connecting all the way. Things had shifted. So I'm going to open that up later today and see if that's my problem. And in the meantime, the printer will still work for me. I just disconnected the filament sensor. There's just a little plug in the side. I saw this on another YouTube video. Didn't even think of that. Yeah, I just plug that and it works fine. So I think it's a minor problem. I did look on Amazon. Can't find a filament sensor that looks exactly like the ones that I have. They have other ones, but because I'm thinking that's another spare part I need to order. But first of all, I'm going to see if this is a minor fix, and I think it is, and I think I can do it. So always learning about 3D printing, and you will. Okay, that takes me to Blasts from the Past. This was a new technique I fell in love with at the time when I was doing scrapbooking and art journaling pages especially, and they were jelly plates. And you probably have heard of them if you're in the crafting community. They're a way of making what they call monoprints, one-offs, using acrylic plate on basically a little jelly, a little kind of rubbery, silicone-y plastic plate. So here's a video from about 10 years ago when I was big into jelly plate printing.
Okay, so in the previous video you saw me use Distress Paints by Tim Holtz. And the reason I did that is because they're really easy to clean up. But you will notice that with Distress Paints you don't get quite as vivid an image as you will with acrylic paints. So on this section I'm going to show you how to use acrylic paints. I'm going to use some of the same techniques as I did with the with the Distress Paint, so you can see the difference. But I'm also going to do a couple of other things that are a little different. So first thing we're going to do is just apply some color onto our jelly plate. And here's my jelly plate. And again, I have it on my acrylic board, which is an option. This is not something you have to have. I just find it's really easy to use. It's great too if you want to stamp an image. And we'll talk about that maybe a little later. And I've got my brayers, and one for smoothing out the paint, and then like I said, I like to use the dry one to smooth over the paper to make my print, but you can use your hands, it works just as well. And I've got some basic colors here, and I'm just using 3 colors right at the moment: blue, yellow, and red. These are not expensive paints. They're acrylic by Liquitex. Bought a box of 48 colors for I think $40, something like that, some time ago, and they often come on sale. So with having said that, I'm just going to put a little color on my plate. Now you'd only need a drop, and that's probably more than enough. And so this before smoothing it out, I find if you lift the brayer up as you smooth it out, it gives you a more even layer, and also it is easier to control the amount of paint that goes on. As I said before, you don't need a whole lot. Place it in thin. And off to the side here I have a piece of just scrap cardstock that I'm rolling off the paint to clean it from my brayer, which later on could be a background paper in itself. So there I go. I just have my thin layer of blue paint on here. Now I'm just going to leave it like that for a moment, and I'm going to grab what we call catalyst tools. And I have to find my catalyst tools. And I don't know where my catalyst tools are. Well, that's really good. So just hold on a second. I'm just going to pause the video. Okay, I found my catalyst tools, and while I was looking for those, which were right under my nose, my paint dried on the acrylic pad. So you'll notice that the blue I've used this time, I had to wipe the other one off. I tried to reactivate it with water. That didn't seem to work. So I used a baby wipe and cleaned that all off, and I've added another color of blue. And in fact, I've added a little deeper color of blue this time. Because I think I like it better. So, what are catalyst tools? These are catalyst tools. They're tools that have ridges on them, and the name of the company that makes them is, I think, well, they call them Catalyst. Okay, but you see they've got all these different little designs on them, which you can use for your jelly plate printing. So I'm just going to use this one, and I'm just making a swirl, and it's always good to have some baby wipes nearby, so you can just take the excess off your pad. Jelly plate printing is a messy process, so be prepared for that. And maybe I'll use this one and see what I get here. Try maybe a little squiggle there, a little squiggle there. Okay, clean that off. You can use anything to create a design in the jelly plate. It doesn't have to be a catalyst tool. You can use a pencil, the tip of a paintbrush, the end of a spatula, whatever you've got laying around. It doesn't matter. Feel free to experiment. You can even take little cups, like little shot glasses, and make circles all over it, and that works very well too. So here's my paper for printing. I'm laying that down, and I'm using my dry brayer just to smooth it off. And as I said, you could use your hands. That's not a problem. And let's see what we've got. The big reveal. Now you can see right there that the colors are much more vivid when you're using acrylic paints as opposed to the distress paints. Totally different look. So if you want something with a little bit more brightness to it, I would recommend you go with the acrylic paints. Let's put that aside to dry. And let's pull a ghost. And remember, a ghost is just a second print. Takes up whatever's left. And see what we get from this. It's also a good way to clean your jelly plate. And we didn't get very much at all on that. So that's fine. I'm going to leave the residue that's on here. I'm not going to clean it off. What I'm going to do is take another color. I'm going to take this lighter shade of blue. I'm just going to spread it right on top. Same method. Just smooth out your paint. Get it even and get it thin. You don't want that much. And now for some variety, why don't I take a stencil to this one? Let's try, I've got several stencils off to the side here. Let's try this one with the hexagons in it. I'm just going to lay it right down the center. And I'm going to take a piece of paper again. And in fact, I'm using that piece of paper. I got a little bit of the stuff on it from the ghost that didn't really work. And that's okay, because this will probably just cover it up. Brayer it. You want to work that stencil in. Now this is where your fingers might be an asset, because you can push into the spaces in the stencil with them, maybe a little better than you can with a brayer. So I'm just going to press that down well. And now let's see what we got this time. Well, that's kind of interesting. It picked up the swirls in behind, you see, and because this stencil has some very solid parts in it, that's why we have the solid white. So we're just going to put that aside for now. And I'm going to put my stencils aside. And what you might want to do with your stencils, if you're really particular about cleaning them, is have a bucket of water nearby, a little dishpan of water. You can drop them in and let them soak until you're done, then wash them all. I have a tendency not to wash my stencils very thoroughly, so I'm just going to take it and put it off to the side. I'll look after it later. Okay, so I've got some more pattern on here. So I'm going to take this one and I'm going to build with another color. I'm going to leave what's on here right now, And let's try some yellow. And I'm just going to leave it like that before I try putting anything else into it, see what it lifts. Ooh, that's kind of neat. You see that? So it picked up some of that stencil from before. It even picked up some of the swirls, and we got some sort of a modeling effect going on here too. We can build on that layer as well. I think though for the next thing I'm going to do, I am going to clean off the jelly plate. I'm just using a baby wipe. Make sure you use a non-alcohol baby wipe, otherwise you will dry out your jelly plate, and that is not a good thing. And you don't have to be real particular about how well you clean it up. And for this next one, I think what I'll do is, I think I'll lay down some red. And this time, as I said before, what I'm doing off screen here is I'm just cleaning off my brayer just on a piece of scrap paper, rolling it back and forth. I'm going to use some texture stamps. This one's a little circle in a circle kind of a thing, and I'm just going to press it in randomly. And oops, came off my thing. Oh, that's okay. Okay, so I've got those in. Now it is acrylic paint, so I do want to clean it off my stamps afterwards. Again, I'm not that particular about cleaning off my stamps, but things like acrylic paint that when they dry are more permanent, you don't want those sitting on your stamps because it could wreck your stamps. And I'm just using a baby wipe. Okay, and then I think I'll lay down another stencil on top of this. Here's something a little fancy. Let's see what happens when I put that down. And I'm going to use this sheet again, the one that had the hexagons and everything happening in it. Let's see what we get. Again, I think I'm going to use my fingers on this because there's a lot of little intricate cutouts in this stencil. So my fingers help me to get the paint up through those and onto my paper. And let's see what we get. Ooh, this is starting to become really quite attractive. Okay, now let's see what we get for the ghost off this one. Now remember, your ghost print is always going to be lighter than your first print because it's just getting up the residue of paint. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Okay.
So that takes me to events in the past week. Well, I've already talked about Thanksgiving. We had some special people come and visit us from the Atlantic coast. And that was Ron and Joan Cleveley. Ron and Joan, we have met before in person when we went a year ago for the Canadian Quilt Show in Halifax, because they live just outside of Halifax. They live actually on the road to Peggy's Cove, if you know where that is. And so they came to that. And of course, I see Ron especially, and Joan too, on a fairly regular basis by way of Zoom when we do our sew days and pop-up sew days, and that kind of thing. So they were out here for a wedding, and they were staying in my town, and so they came for dinner, and oh my God, we had such a good time with them. They didn't leave until 1:30 in the morning. I mean, oh my God, I don't stay up that late, but it was worth it. And we drank a lot of wine, a lot of wine. We had gone out earlier in the week, Walter and I, to buy our wine supply for Thanksgiving dinner and for when Ron and Joan were coming for dinner. We bought a couple of 750 milliliter bottles of wine and a couple of 1.5 liter bottles of wine. And the idea here was the big ones were for Sunday, for Thanksgiving, and the little ones for, for us when Ron and Joan came for dinner. Yeah, we drank those two bottles very quickly, and we drank the other two, the large ones as well. Yeah, we went through, let's see, 4.5 liters of wine between four of us. The next day, I was a little foggy in the head, if you know what I mean. Okay? Not completely hungover, but definitely in a haze. But it was a great time, and they brought me a little gift. I've got to show you. This is hilarious. They know I love gnomes. They found this. This is hilarious. This dinosaur munching on the gnomes. They got it at Giant Tiger. That's, I don't know if in the States and in other parts of Canada, but we have them here in Ontario, and I guess they have them down in the East Coast too, the Giant Tiger stores. And yeah, we call it the Big Pussy, but it's Giant Tiger. And it's hilarious. It now sits in a very prominent space in my sewing area, in my sewing room. So yeah, so thank you, Ron and Joan. This is hilarious. They also brought us a couple of bottles of wine, their own, that they make, and we haven't tried it yet. So I'll let you know about that too when we get around to it. You know, we probably could have opened one of those bottles on the other night when they were here, but yeah, then they would probably never have gotten back to their hotel room. And just in case you are worried, they took a cab here and took a cab home. Yeah. So everybody was safe and sound. Okay, so what else? Well, let's see. Walter got some new pots. He did. And he just loves them. They're the best pots he's ever had. They're expensive pots, but he's basically replaced all of our old crappy pots and pans now with these really all clad, they're called, and he's loving them. I'm afraid to touch them, although I did use one pot the other day to make my cranberries, but I washed it by hand because these don't go in the dishwasher. You could probably put them in the dishwasher, but Walter says no. So I'm not going to get into trouble, okay, with this. And he's loving them. And I thought I'd show you what I'm talking about. I made a little clip to insert here. So I thought I'd show you Walter's latest acquisition we got lately. And he bought new pots. He's been on a frenzy for pot lately, replacing all our old cheapo pots with these really nice ones that are, what are those, all clad? Or
Yeah.
And look at that. And he had to have them in all the various sizes. And does that make him a better cook? I'm not sure. And he has more than just these three. There
I have
are
3 other ones.
There's 3 other ones as well. Now, do you have anything more in a set?
No,
that you
I
want?
think right now I'm done.
Yeah, should be, because this is a small fortune in pots. But there you are. Will it make him a better cook? We'll
No,
see.
but I like cooking better then.
Oh, he likes to cook better with that. Well, that's good because he does most of the cooking, so I'm not going to complain about that. Oh, broccoli again. Yum. So yeah, Walter's very happy with his new pots and pans. Now he's working on knives. It never ends. Okay, so what's coming up? Well, the Idiot Quilter Fall Retreat is this coming Saturday, October the 19th. Doors open at 7:30 in the morning. Official opening is at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Everything's in Eastern Time. And it's going to be lots and lots of fun. Those of you that are registered for it, I have sent out to you this morning an agenda for the day so you know what's coming, who the guest speakers are, and some tips and tricks on how to have a great day with that. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's a lot of work for me, but it's happy work. It's happy work. I enjoy putting these kind of things together. There, of course, are prizes, and the whole bit. So I hope everybody that's reserved their spot for it are looking forward to it. If you have not reserved your spot, I still have a few spots left. But if you're interested, you're going to need to register no later than this coming Wednesday, which is, let's see, today is the 14th, the 16th, October 16th. And then after that, that's it. No more. Okay. Just a reminder to those of you that have registered, if for some reason life happens and you can't make it, I want to know about that as soon as possible, because you want to avoid being on the blacklist. And you know what I'm talking about. And yeah, also another reminder to those of you that registered, if you want to have in the slideshow one of your creations, I have to have by midnight tonight, October the 14th, Eastern Time, I need one picture sent to my email and just with your full name. Do not write anything about it because I'm not going to be using any of that. So that's if you want to be included in the show and share slideshow. Okay. And after midnight tonight, Monday, October 14th, I won't be accepting any more pictures because I need some time to put the slideshow together. It takes me a bit of time. Okay. So yeah. And of course, this coming Friday night, for those of you that are registered, we are having our icebreaker cocktail party. If you can make it, great. If you can't, that's okay too. Don't worry about it. But in that email that I sent out, you do have the link for the cocktail party, the Zoom, and of course there is the link as well for the retreat. Yeah. Now, if you're watching this and you have not received that email with the agenda and the links in it, please let me know as soon as possible, and I will check that. I don't think I have missed anybody. I've been double checking my mailing list and the whole bit. Did that also this morning before I sent it out, so it should be there. But if by chance you didn't get it, do check your spam folder to make sure it didn't go to spam. And if you didn't get it, send me an email and I'll make sure you get it. Okay, so is there anything else to tell you? I don't think so. Yep, that's it for me. So stay tuned for the Idiot Quilter tomorrow. And of course, Walter and I will be continuing our series on Stephen Makes a Shirt on Friday with So Chatty. And then we'll have Stephen and Walter live. I'll do a post-mortem on the retreat then, and we'll talk about other things as we always do. And that will be on at regular time on Sunday. It'll be at 4 p.m. Eastern. Okay. Hope you have a great week, and we'll see you later. Bye for now.